I'm just sending these roses by flight
Yeah.
daily. I don't see us meeting the demand for roses in the next 4 years. The tricky thing about land is the biggest beneficiary is always the owner. Whatever retained value, if I come and I lease your property and I improve the value, as far as I have to hand it back to you, you're the
Yeah.
beneficiary of whatever value that I have brought on that piece of land. So, yeah.
Hi there. It's exciting to be back here with you again on the Just Start podcast, where we bring you stories, conversations, and insights around business and culture shaping from the city of Jos. And I'm your host. My name is Timothy Kunat. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, share this video to everyone in your circle, like, and leave a comment. Let's know the things that resonate with you. Let's know where you're tuning in from, where you're watching or listening to this from. And let's get on this exciting journey together. We're talking real estate today, right? And there's it some time ago I got some messages and some people were telling me, oh, I think you should talk a lot more about real estate in Jos, real estate in Plateau State. And I'm like, yo, I'm not the best person for that. So I have the best person for that right now. And I'm here with Jemimah Donjur, and she's the president and founder of Brick and Roses. And one of the very first times we connected, there was something she told me. She said she's driving at transforming the skyline of Plateau State.
Yes.
I can never forget that. Welcome, Jemimah. It's really good to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. I'm so glad to be sharing these stories.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, a little bit about Brick and Roses, please. What's just I mean, and a few people do know Brick and Roses, but for the general public, for everybody who is especially outside Plateau State, tell us a bit about Brick and Roses.
Okay, so Bricks and Roses is a real estate company that was founded in 2021. The aim of the company is to drive the sustainable urbanism of cities, I mean, specifically for now, Jos, leveraging technology, strategic partnerships, our experience, our network, doing that in a way to alter the skyline of the city. Because then when you do it right and you have a good skyline, what else could urbanism want more than that? Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So I don't know if you have a background in real estate or it was something that probably just became a passion for you, but what's the journey into real estate been like for you?
So I'm the daughter of a quantity surveyor and a very active person. So I feel like at the back of my head, subconsciously, I was gaining experience and knowledge, going to negotiation tables with my dad, meeting people, discussing and knowing about properties, about lands, about their uses, and all of that. But then I used to drive around a lot as well. So that's my knowledge of Jos. That's where I was able to know areas, know places, see things, and see, okay, this is what it is. But then I really got lucky to come across a course in Harvard that was for real estate. It was Principles of Real Estate. So I did enroll and I took the class, and I don't know, it was very amazing. There was just a graph that was going up, and it was time versus money, and it is real estate, meaning however you look at it, your money is going to be going up with time. So that was very interesting. And then eventually I decided to join a track for a real estate investment certificate. So I've taken 3 out of 4 courses with Harvard University towards real estate. So real estate finance, real estate management, sustainable cities, and then principles of real estate.
Wow. Wow. That sustainable city sounds interesting. Sounds like something I'm going to be interested in. So now in taking those courses, how has that shaped your perspective? Especially because, well, I don't know if the content is adapted to like developing economies, but how taking from a place like Harvard, in a country or in an economy where, well, it's not developing, it's first world, right? How have you been able to adapt some of the concepts into here?
Okay, so first things first, for specifically sustainable cities class. It was more like a class where you pick a city, you analyze a city, you look at problems, and you solve it. That was kind of the aim of the whole course. We did a lot of case studies from different other emerging cities, Rwanda, Botswana, some of all these other places. So we're able to see how those places came to be, how they're taking shape, and all of that. So that's something I've been able to adapt. But generally, I think the way and manner we're taught real estate is you approach land from looking at the point of the highest and best use of the piece of location, because real estate is location. So you have a location. Instead of just doing something very random that probably was not the best for the location, you have to think, is this fit for a school, a restaurant, a hotel, a hospital? So that's where the sustainable comes into the urbanism. Yes.
This thing you just said. So, based on this last thing you just mentioned, how would you describe the real estate landscape in Jos?
It's interesting. It's I feel obviously the place has its unique characteristics, the terrain, the topography, the weather, the kinds of like plants that grow up and around and all of that. I think because we're not such a, will I say, an expanded city, we have an opportunity to make our urbanism sustainable when we decide to use the spaces. I wouldn't say right now it's like bad. There's a lot of people every day. There's more demand. There's more knowledge. There's more insight. More people are coming to JOS. So it's on the rise. It's doing what the graph is supposed to do right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So, why would you? Because of course, after doing all these courses, you could easily have set up. Abuja is just a few hours away.
My Abuja friends.
Lagos is the darling of a lot of
Is
people
it?
right now when it comes to real estate. You know a lot of listening to people talk about real estate. You hear things like, oh, if you're serious about investing in real estate, you have to be thinking about Lagos because Lagos is this and that and all of that, and then the demand. Yeah, but so in the midst of all of that, you decided to choose Jos, Plateau State. What drove that choice?
Okay, so I have traveled to a few countries. I haven't seen anything like JOS. For me, it's just the urbanism that we need to make this place heaven on earth. For me, it's like a Dubai, but with better weather, with a finer landscape, a Hollywood with a finer landscape. So I don't know what people's passions are and what drives them to do the things that they do. In terms of returns, even I think there are very many ways to make very good returns. My best clients have been those from outside JOS, have never been to JOS. I've convinced to invest in JOS. By the time they come to check what they have invested in, they're the ones giving me ideas on what to do. I think you should do. I'm just like, guys, I brought you and all of those kinds of things. You need to slow down and chill. So for me, I just think this is such a, I don't know whether the word, you know how they say something's like a ticking time bomb, but it's a good bomb. It's
Yeah.
a bomb that is going to explode in the right way.
Yeah.
So for me, there's just so many indicators of it, the people, the culture, the mindset shift that's happening, the amount of tourists that are coming in. We have the airports now, we have daily flights to different places. There are lots of indicators of urbanism. I was telling someone, I saw them put up more billboard posts. That is a sign of urbanism. There's so many, many signs of urbanism. The painting of the curbs on the road, black and white, trees. There's some of these things that when you see, someone had to think better and different to do that kind of thing. So it shows that urbanism is in progress. So for me, I see these indicators and I know that this is where to be. This is definitely, I'm not pitching my tent elsewhere.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So, what are the opportunities for someone who is, because you just mentioned that you have a lot of people who are from outside Plateau State, who are outside Jos, and then you've been able to get them to invest in real estate. What are some of the opportunities for everyday people and even for people who have probably some amount of liquidity that might be looking for places to invest in?
Okay, so currently I'm driving an initiative. It's being registered as an NGO called Invest in JOS. So we're just trying to have as many investment ready options for people from outside to come in. Now, real estate is land. Everything is based on land. So I've convinced people where it's buy this one plot and plant trees and maybe something like moringa, which every part of it is useful, the leaves, the bark, and everything. Plants trees, and over time, you can sell the trees. You still have your land that has improved in value. You sell that. There are people that can just buy and lease out to someone else for a better use of the property. There are other things as well, like Embassy by Yadan, Lamont Hotel. There's the one we're currently working on, a waterfront seafood restaurant. Those are things that we have completely done with investor funds. You look at what is the best use of this place. You do your designs, you do your calculations, you do your business plan, you do your models, come up with a proposal, come up with your numbers. So for something like Embassy now, we had a figure. Okay, I think it's public knowledge. So we're looking for 160 million naira. So we divided that into 7 slots. And then we had investors pick slots. You approach people, come and pick up a slot. I think a slot was 22.8 million, if I remember correctly. For something like Lamont, it was 2 people that came together to raise the funds and put it in the investment. And then they brought that back to life. So there are all of those kinds of things and packages that we're planning with different locations, different spots to have investors ready to invest. But I mean, for Jos also, it goes beyond those kinds of things. You can just get the land and mine. There are minerals here. There's good, will I say, soil. The soil is so fertile.
Yeah.
Your herds will thrive. Your cattle will thrive. Everything. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
it just covers everything. Tourism. You can't take tourism away from us. Oh my God, I did not mention tourism before now.
You cannot.
We have even, I don't know, the jogging, the terrain, the natural terrain already is such a tourist site. I remember a time that I convinced a friend to come into town, and we picked her up and we were driving. And she was amazed at so many things. And then she saw sunflowers and she was like, oh my God, you guys, my friend just looked at her like, what do you mean? Like, we're literally just passing these things daily. In short, for me, I've always known sunflowers as like a shrub, something that should be cut off. But I mean, people are in love with it, in love with the roses, the strawberries, different things that come and bring life to the place. So I think, yeah.
This thing you just mentioned, there every single time I have to bring in tourists, through Discover Jos and all of that, when we're driving from the airport, I just realized that people they're just looking out the window, left and right, like, wait a minute, this place is in Nigeria.
Exactly.
And so it's just, meanwhile, you're here, you're almost already used to it.
Do you understand like how much of it we're taking for granted because this was the part I was going to school every day. This was, you understand? But when people come and you see how amazed they are, it shows you that there's something.
There's something.
Because how many are we here? And then the outside people at once.
Actually.
There's something. There's
so much
something.
opportunity.
Yes.
For Brick and Roses, what are some of the challenges on the Bricks and Roses side, but also for you as someone who's doing real estate? What are some of the major challenges that you've faced? And you can go the whole 10 years, whether it's policy, whether it's land, whatever it is. What are some of the major challenges that you faced, and how have you been able to navigate them?
Okay, so there have been challenges. I think in my previous life I would have said there hasn't been, but my company people have pointed the challenges out to me. That's what I find fun. There are many, 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 many challenges. I'll start with the people, because the people that do know this place are the people of Jos. There's a bit of a laid-back culture that we do have. So one of my worst aspects of real estate is agency. Oh my God. You're going to come, you're going to wait. Someone that is close by is going to be close by for 1 hour. You're going to wait. Before you go to the next property, the key is not available. Before you go to another property, there's something not available. Do you understand? So having the right things the right people to make your work process as seamless as possible is one thing. And then there's this interesting phenomenon of scarcity of certain types of properties in Jos. Like you can be searching for 2-bedroom properties at some time, and you will not find. I'm just like, I don't get it. Why don't we have 2-bedroom? Why? Okay, why is I understand building is money, but somebody should do it. Like somebody should put down their money and stuff like that. In terms of policies, I think what I would just prefer is if there were more policies to incentivize outside investors. Because I know there are countries and their partners I've had in Turkey, they were offering residency. In Dubai, they were offering residency. maybe some kind of discount. I know there used to be a 50% off ground rent and stuff. I don't know if that's still in play, but there are some of all those things that would help make the place more attractive for investors to come in. Yeah, I think those are the ones that I can think of. Obviously, okay, well, capital and meeting investors, doing all of that. But I think the major way we've been able to solve it is networking. There's really nothing your network, if you get the right network, cannot do for you. There are buttons that can be pushed. There are things that could be made to happen. So I feel like real estate is really backed by networking. Anyway, most businesses, honestly, business is backed by networking. So when you do have a credible network, if I don't know something or I face a challenge, I probably have a friend that I can rely on, whether it's even internally, administratively. There are people that I call and ask for advice. I call and ask for help. I'm going through this. How do I navigate this kind of situation? So there are challenges, but for me, business is solving problems. So these are the things I expect all the time. It's the fun part, is what is the drive for it.
I like when you said business is solving problems. It's a mindset. That's actually a mindset. So you're expecting problems because
Exactly.
the funds, the money, the what all the things you're hoping to get out of business actually comes from solving problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's the bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity.
Well, the bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. So now we should start looking for big problems.
Yes.
I like the sound of that.
Transform the power sector of the country.
More.
Do
That
some.
that is a big problem.
Exactly. If you're able to solve that, come on, or just pick transportation, pick something. Urbanism is when you're looking at cities as a system of systems. So from the education to the transportation to the private sector to the public sector to security to accommodation. So I think the sectors are what people try to call ministries in government. So how a good government is by the ministries they have and the mandates that those ministries have been given. Then you can tell what amount of progress there will be. Because those are like your departments in your company.
Yeah.
Yes, that you're running.
Yeah. I never thought about it from that perspective, actually. Somehow it's easy to think about them as political.
17 local governments,
Yeah.
at least 17
Yeah.
representations.
Yeah. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Did you face any challenges as a woman in real estate? Because I know that the real estate scene has a lot of men, probably male dominated. I don't know what
Yes,
it is
it
now,
is. It
whether it's
is.
50-50, I don't know. But
For me here, it is
did
male
did you
dominated.
face any challenge of, oh, she's a woman, can
Yes.
she really handle that?
Yes, I've had people just straight up look at me from my legs to my head when I try to talk, when I try to say something. I've had people just be like, oh, she's just, I don't know, being a woman and being complex, when really you just want them to get things done the right way. Obviously, you can never take away the clients that will tell you on WhatsApp, you are my agent, and on Instagram, they're trying to have like another relationship with you and all of those kinds of stuff. But then I also think that it is blessed to be a woman in this field because you kind of get a listening ear just because you are a woman. I mean, if I cry, you would listen to me and stuff like that. So there are some opportunities that are made a bit easier and lighter for you, but then there are also challenges. So I think there's a balance if you look at it that way.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I was necessarily ever attacked as a woman because, first of all, I founded my company. So you're not going to say too much about it. And if a woman can't do that, then you should allow her to do what she says the company is going to do. And I think I've been given that opportunity.
Fantastic. Is there any very challenging project that took, maybe I'll say everything from you that you just couldn't wait to finish?
Yes.
Would you like to
Yes.
tell us a bit about that?
Okay. So, I don't know. I'm a bit of a faster person. So even when things just kind of take too long, it kind of takes away the energy a bit and stuff like that. So I know there was a project that we did. I think the issue came when the dollar went up. So variations, lack of funds became slow, access to funding became slower, all of those kinds of challenges. So it dragged on a bit. And the project itself was a bit challenging because, like I said, the topography of this place that we have, you sometimes have to blast rocks, you sometimes have to
Yes.
make bridges,
Yes.
you sometimes have to so reinforce a piece of land because we have a lot of mining ponds as well. There was this property we were trying to do a very fantastic hotel in, and when we did the soil test, we realized you need strength. As the deeper you go, you want the soil to be stronger, but it was the inverse. Yes. So it's almost like you have to solidify the ground, or you're trying to look for how to do proper reinforcements, your rafting, and all of those kinds of things to make sure that this place has a balance. So sometimes it could come from design issues, things you overlooked. Sometimes it could come from funding. These challenges come in different ways, but I'll say it's just sometimes the drag when you say I want to be done with this project in 5 months, and it's taking you 9 months, taking you a year. But in the end, I mean, because we have the goal in mind, the landscape is more beautiful for it. The skyline is more beautiful for it. The challenges, when they are overcome, make a lot of sense.
Awesome. I want to buy land in Jos.
Yes.
I get that question or that statement, that request from a lot of people. I want to buy land in Jos. I see your content. I see the things that come out, and I'm interested, but I'm not sure where I should start from. Is there something that, if you were to give an advice, right, to people like that who are looking to buy property, where should they start from? What should they look at from? Especially when they are not even here. They may be somewhere else, in another city in Nigeria or even outside Nigeria, but then they just feel convinced enough to invest here.
Yeah. So I'll say, first of all, if they have a use of location that they're comfortable with, like maybe if you have a plan, I want to maybe do a school in Jos eventually, I want to do a farm, I want to do a house, it makes it easier. Obviously, budget matters for location as well. So where would you want, what's your budget? Then we can advise you, these are the areas that go within this range, within this amount. But honestly, I will tell you that you can find something with almost any budget in Jos. There are a lot of younger people that also really are eager to come together to co-own, to co-invest, and do some of those kinds of things together. Like the one I told you, the model,
Yeah.
is just the amount was 160, but you truly brought together 7 people to
And
do it,
that just happened.
to get it done. Even though sometimes you're lucky enough to have investors that could pick multiple slots, maybe 4 or 5 slots, depending on what they want to invest in, and it becomes their shareholding in the business or in the use of it. So I would say always, obviously, the use. If you approach it from the use point of view, you can almost never get it wrong. What would be the use of the property in future? Just have an idea. Maybe I might think of settling. Oh, I just want to. If you actually just want to invest, a passive investor, those are the people I mostly advise. Then do something, grow something on the land. We can help you do some arrangements here where if you plant, for example, roses, I don't see us meeting the demand for roses in the next 4 years. Let me see. So if you say roses, for example, we can just have a chain where even where you are now, you the investor, you can just give us a chain where it's like if you're in Lagos, I'm just sending these roses by flight daily to Lagos, and then you're selling it. You've made your customer base. You're making money from it, and at the end of the day, you can always sell back the piece of land itself. It's always going to be yours. The tricky thing about land is the biggest beneficiary is always the owner. Whatever retained value, if I come and I lease your property and I improve the value, as far as I have to hand it back to you, you're the beneficiary of whatever value that I have brought on that piece of land. So, yeah, I'll just invest in land, invest in Jaws. Like, I won't even, now I'm not begging. I'm actually for me right now. Don't
Yeah. So you had talked about the company. It's a company, Invest in Jos.
I'm registering it as an NGO.
Okay. So you had hinted about it before, but I want you to talk a little about what the projects under Invest in Jos is.
Okay.
And some of the things that you're looking at for now and for the future.
Okay. So, invest in just the model that we're using essentially is there are a lot of locations, there are a lot of people that have given us access to like management of their locations, their properties, come, let's see what we can do here. So we're trying to pick those ones, first of all, that have been given to us, that we do have access with, very strategic locations, corner pieces, by roundabouts and all of that. Then what is the best use of it? Like I told you now, we have a waterfront property not too far from here, actually. And we just thought the best thing to do, and something that would be interesting to also do here, might be a seafood restaurant, because we do not have anything that has real array of seafood here in Jos and all of that. So it's like, okay, fine, approach the owner of the property. Would you give it to us? Or whichever arrangement we go to, you can still have shares as the owner. And then we've developed designs. We're doing the costing currently. We're going to come up with a proposal. Whatever figure we come up with, we can now look at it. If one person can invest, if two people, however many people we need that we think we can pattern this to favor, then we can now build this up and do. Same, I have locations that are suitable for schools. I have locations that are suitable for filling stations. So it's just doing the design, seeing it, going after people, this is what I want to bring to life, and getting them to believe so much in your dream and bringing it to life. That's how I want us to alter the skyline of the city. And obviously, I feel like there would be a lot of, will I say, buy? So we have Embassy by Yadan. These are models that have worked under this initiative.
Yeah.
We have Embassy by Yadan. We have Lamont by Somewhere. We have Chillers by New Yorker. This one, I'm trying to get, I hope Shark Express gets to see this video. I'm trying to get Shark Express to come in for the management. Now, for me, this saves me a lot of stress, because these people have their track records in their businesses. So when I'm trying to convince an investor, this is who's going to bring up. When they see your numbers, they're going to have more faith in what it is. So I don't need to start thinking of how to stress myself about learning that kind of business, whether it's running a hospital, whether it's even, I don't know, any kind of company really, whatever it is. It's the thing about urbanism. The first thing is collaboration. When you meet another person, if you're an urbanism thinker, the first thing you should be thinking is, where do they fit? Because they must fit. Everybody has a seat on the table of urbanism. So you just have to find where everyone actually sits right on that table. So now when you make networks with doctors, when you make networks with these kinds of people, they will point you towards how to. There are things I know now that somebody wants me to run a recycling plant for them, and I'm like, how, where, why? Do you understand? Those kinds of things. But it's what real estate does to you. It exposes you to virtually every industry, because everything is based on land.
Yeah.
You have to account for it. You have to know the use of it, the highest and best use. There are many uses of land, but you'll be wiser to pick the highest and best use, because that will give you your greatest value in terms of returns of it. So that's how we're trying to get these locations and take them, change the skyline.
In reimagining the city, all right. Let's pretend like you were ChatGPT and I was giving you a prompt. In reimagining the city, especially talking about redefining the skyline and all that, what are things that you wish we had in place, or you would hope that we have in the near future? Things, buildings, facilities,
So even in terms of, maybe I'll start from, even in terms of maybe some things like building materials, there are certain things that are not so easily found here. Yeah, you cannot really get large sheets of glass in Jos.
Really?
Yes, that's why most of what you find are always cut, like the ones around us here. You cannot get one that is large.
A
So
full
yes,
large sheet.
you can hardly get it. You do a lot in terms of transporting. You transport multiple, because you have no faith that our Nigerian roads would carry your glass from point to point. So maybe you're looking for a piece of glass, but you have to buy 6, 5 to bring them
So
down.
that
here.
increases the cost of.
Exactly. So that there's some of those kinds of things that come around and come into play for here. I wish maybe we already had better buildings, but everywhere is somewhere to start from.
Yeah.
We're just going to start with what we have. I think that every place has a story. So it doesn't matter what is and what was. I just think that we can make do with what we have right now. So I think that we have everything that we have in place. If these ideas, and not my idea, I mean, investing just comes up naturally in conversations right now. Everywhere you go, people are trying to talk about investing in Jos, bringing something to Jos, doing something in Jos. Everyone is growing. Everyone is trying to be a forward thinker. Everyone is trying to make some use out of their lives. And the thing I love about tying these kinds of mindset to urbanism is just because I believe as a person, you're just always trying to do better. And that is urbanism. Just doing better, just being better, just having better. So I feel like we have what we need. We just need to make use of it.
Wow. We have what we need. We just need to make use of it. Now, in terms of like the local culture, the culture here, the history of the plateau, personally, I wish that we had more, maybe more unique architectural designs that tilted in the side of towards the side of culture and like history. Something that people can drive past and they're like, whoa, what he building? Right. I think right now the only building I can think of that has a such depth of history, maybe there are two, will probably be the Gomork House, the JD Gomork
Yeah.
House, and then maybe the Secretariat, the Plateau State Secretariat. And then, of course, well, that also is because of the circumstances in which it was built and the history around it and all of that. But is there anything currently in place to preserve culture and history through buildings?
I would I would give a big part of that to whoever is doing something in the education industry. How much of our history do we know? Talk more of replicate it. There are things people have told me about just, especially lately, and I'm like, yeah, all these things were here. All these people came from here. All these kind of things were here. But happily, I was at a birthday of someone from Jos recently in Abuja, and I had a friend that is Igbo, and immediately he saw the house, was like, this is, there was this part of the house that had the holes. You know how we have those see-throughs, and the pattern itself, it was like, this is such a just thing. This is such a just building. And I was quite happy because I just knew that was a very nice building. I didn't know that that was something that the person intentionally tried to put a bit of his culture and a bit
Yeah.
of just in it. So I think how much of our history do we know? We need to, in our schools, our architects need to know more what they're in tune with. And to be fair, I feel the architects these days I encounter, I find them doing a lot of research because every design, let me say, is unique. So you have to solve a problem with design. You always have to look at it. So I believe they encountered this, but maybe in terms of the picturesque nature of the designs, maybe they're not doing so much. But I think we also need to have a system that shows them what it could be and what it should be like. I mean, this is a very cold place.
Yeah.
There are materials that will probably be better off here than outside of here. There are materials that probably don't need here
Yeah.
than outside of here. I always tell people I've never seen an AC in my house, like all year round. And it's not ever a point that you're in dire need or you're complaining so much of it, but maybe the materials that were used to build a house are able to preserve heat or cold in the
Yeah.
seasons. We have to do more. Architects have their terms. I can't think of it right now, but there are studies that they do carry out in terms of that. But I just think we need, like now, the just culture. Maybe the curtains, the materials of the curtains, maybe the something, you understand,
Yeah.
put some elements of these kinds of things around. But we need to know what these elements are, first of all, to know how to put them in.
Awesome. In terms of building and collaborating, like you had mentioned before, what are some of the probably I would say challenges? But for me, I've experienced the fact that a lot of times people don't like to collaborate. Some people try to sometimes own. Everybody wants to own the narrative. Own, okay, this thing, it is mine. It has my name. How have you been able to overcome that individualistic perspective in collaborating for building real estate and all of that stuff here?
So,
Okay, so because for example, you drive through town, and currently I don't think there's still any like proper mall, like proper mall in Jos. But we have like one trillion plazas, and they are opening every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I ask myself, and I'm thinking, is it possible for some of these people to have maybe done a collaboration and pulled all the resources together and have like one standard place in a part of town that is unmissable, where that also brings more traffic, it brings more visibility, businesses thrive and all that, just because of the kind of facility that it is.
Okay, so I think I have maybe 2 or 3 points on that. Firstly, are they aware of the collaboration opportunities? Are they aware that, you might just come and meet me and say, I have my property. And you come and meet me and say, okay, let's do this. Of course, I'm trying to think that you're going to reduce what it is, what's in it for me, right? But how much of, how much have you laid out what it actually is and the actual opportunities? Like, let me actually see. The people that don't do stuff is not because they were not aware, but they weren't told how they should have been told. So when they start seeing the returns and maybe they see someone else did it and they're getting it right, then they're like, oh, okay, I didn't know now that it was going to be this way.
Yeah.
And I don't know, not to be religious, but there's a part of the Bible that talks about sharing the risk and going together with someone is better than. So for me personally, I have a personal role that I have to do. Almost everything is a partnership for me. Everything is. I would always tell people in my company, the carpenters are your partners. These people are your partners. You have to work together with them. Let's agree. How are we going to make this carpentry part of this project work? How are we going to have this part of this project work? So for me, I think right-minded people and business people that I know, they know the reward of collaborations. So I think it's getting more people to know and fully, I don't know, there's knowledge and there's understanding.
Yeah.
So I feel like getting to sit in people's heads that these are actually more possibilities, because when you collaborate, let me give a simple example. Maybe I have 100 million naira in capital and I want to do something, and someone comes and says, okay, I have 50, let's do 50-50. Now you have more capital to do another thing that you would have wanted to do with someone. So there's like a ripple effect when you look at things from that way. So I think, yeah, we should definitely be looking towards collaboration. I don't know, in everything that we do. Just think of how to carry a shoulder, how to lean on someone without being a burden and stuff like that. So, yeah. And maybe, business people, they always say crude business people, try. So maybe they're not. I feel like businesses maybe go wrong when there was an interest from a party that wasn't clearly stated. So that person, in my mind, I'm always going to be going with my interest, but you're not aware of that interest. So some of the things I'm going to do are going to look odd to you.
Yeah.
So when we're able to come ho-ha and be honest, I just think it might take time, it's patience, but I feel like wealth is built gradually. You can never you can build riches fast, but I just believe wealth, first of all, is a factor of men who you should only and mostly be collaborating with. So wealth is built gradually, and if you're a wealth thinker, then you take a lot of these partnerships and these things, and they'll eventually come together for you.
Yeah. Awesome. Something I'm quite passionate about is the narrative. Okay. All right. Something I'm quite passionate about is the narrative around Joss, right? The many years of people have a perception and a perspective, and it might not be, most times it's not like 100% accurate, especially because things have changed, things are changing. I mean, it's not 100% there yet, but things are changing. And how have you been able to convince investors, especially in the with the narrative? How have you been able to navigate this narrative to arrive at the successes that you've talked about with the business, that you're running?
So convincing is something that, and getting someone to trust you is something that you do gradually and over time. So there are times that I see highlights and I send to them. There are times I see lowlights in the news and I send to them with an explanation. But I think there's this idea that Jos is Plateau State. Oh no, run far from it. Jos is the capital city of Plateau State. Jos is very safe. Very safe. People think, we're walking through fires to go to school.
Landmines. Like
We're
once you
going
step
to.
out of your
I've had
house,
I've had
everywhere goes
someone.
kaboom.
He came and he was so like amazed by what he saw, and his wife was not having it. She was not, and she was the one holding the money. She was not having it. But another way we've been able to do this is really pushing a come to just narrative, because when you come and you see, you know, for your, like, when you come, you're not feeling not safe.
Yeah.
You understand? You
Yeah.
know for a fact that you are in a safe
Yeah.
zone. You ask your questions, you make your inquiries, you do find out. So that's the first way to convince people to come. First of all, just come. Let me host you.
Yeah.
See what it is like. Go around and see. They would be the ones telling you what to invest. They will even they will, you have to correct them that they don't know the place. It's you that knows the place. Do you understand? If not, they would always fill you up with ideas, even from just the weather. Oh, I think you can take advantage of the weather to do something of this sort. And I'm just like, guys, take
Calm
a
down.
chill, that kind of a thing. So I feel like, firstly, having them know that they can come to just. But another thing that we can make really big now is testimonials, sharing people's testimonials, sharing their experiences. But I think we're at a point right now that I just think Joss is getting really good and free PR right now,
Yes.
because you have a lot of tourists that come in and they make videos about their experiences and they put it out there. So I feel like we need to now in turn take these videos and push it further than those people's reach. Like you can now share that video with someone that you're trying to convince. Okay, this person just came,
Yeah.
and hopefully a popular person. This person just came to town this weekend, and this was their video. This was the experience they had. So making it intentional that it actually gets more reach
Yeah.
than it should. It would change the narrative, and it would eventually. It's a narrative. We can't shy away from our past, but we can definitely build our future.
Definitely.
And we know the opportunities that we have right here sitting down. I didn't come here guarded by armed people. I woke up and I knew I was going to reach here safe and sound. I wasn't
Yes.
going to be kidnapped on the way. I knew that for a fact. So there's none of those things. And the issues that sometimes happen, look out for the reasons why they happen, look out for where they happen before you decide to push a narrative against innocent people. Because no, this is for me, I don't know. I've been here most of my life. I travel a lot, but I'm based here most of my life, and it's been safe for me, for Jos itself, where I stay.
Awesome. I really love what you mentioned when you said that Jos is not Plateau State. Plateau State, Jos is only the capital of Plateau State, but Plateau State is the whole state, right? And I was trying to give somebody perspective, and I said, Jos is almost 10 times the size of Lagos. And then the person was like, sorry, not Jos, sorry, Plateau State
Yeah.
as a whole, right, is almost 10 times the size of Lagos. And the person was like, wait, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, let's Google it. And then they were like, oh, and I started saying, do you know I've spent so and so number of hours just traveling from Jos
Exactly.
to somewhere like Kanam, you know,
Wasi.
Wasi, you know, you're going to Lantan.
Even Shandam, my village is like
Shandam.
4 hours.
Do you
from
understand?
here.
And it's not like, I'm saying all this time, it's not like there's traffic on the way.
No.
You're just going. You're just going. That's like traveling.
Exactly.
You're
within the
literally
same region.
traveling within the same state. So, of course, and then with that massive landmass comes many tribes. We have way over 50 tribes here on the plateau, you know, and a lot of things. So there's a lot of diversity. So just like there is, every state has its capital, Jos is the capital of Plateau State. And while there's a lot that happens here, somehow everybody just assumes that this is the entire state. And there's no other part of the state apart from here.
I even actually have a question, because, you know, on the states and capital thing that he taught us in primary school, it says Plateau Jos.
Yeah.
But as a Jos girl now, I know that there's Jos North and there's Jos South. So which one is the capital of our city?
So Jos North and Jos South are actually local governments
Yes.
that form the state capital.
Also, both of them are involved. I thought as much, but I've just never.
So, you know, most of what is now known as Jos South used to be what was called the Bukuru Metropolis.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the Just North was the
Was
Just
the Jos,
Metropolis. So now the Just
Jos
Metropolis
and
and the
Bukuru Metropolis. That's why you
have
have
merged
those.
into
Exactly.
the state capital, which is now Just City.
Yeah. I think I saw that on the Greater Jos Master Plan.
Master plan.
Yes.
Okay.
So I had a few questions, but I don't know why I never actually asked. I guess it skipped my mind
Yeah.
because I was like, so where are we? Where is Jos?
Yeah. I totally get it. Okay, so greatest inspirations for the work that you're doing and the plans that you have. Who or what are some of your greatest inspirations?
My God. It
Was
runs deep. It
okay.
runs deep for me. I get inspired by different things, but I firstly just believe that I just have a fire in my heart for the place. I've had my friends last year, 8 months out of 12, I was in Abuja and I came back to Jos and I was taken by some of the best people in Abuja. And even then, they were like, Omo, if we could not pull you out, like, you're going to be there, like, just go and do your thing. We're going to help you do your thing while you're here and stuff like that. So I've had a lot of amazing mentors. I've been privileged to work under the likes of Sim Shagaya. I worked as an intern when he started U Lesson. So a lot of the knowledge I believe I have from building a company, I didn't even know I was gaining it at the time, honestly, because we started from day one. So the corrections, the mistakes, seeing how we were trying to build, really has put something in me. I think that's the gift where people now think I can open almost any industry, any kind of business for them in any industry, because I have worked with this kind of startup that has become such a multifaceted startup. I wouldn't take away my parents. First of all, my parents always bless me, so I know that I am moving blessed. Their blessings bring inspirations. They would never shy away from sharing opportunities and opening their networks up to me, giving me whatever I need. I know my parents would like give all they can to make sure I have. So they do inspire me. My parents, my family, my brothers, my friends. My friends on the days that are toughest. You sometimes just need a friend to talk to, a shoulder to cry on. My friends have carried me a lot, and a lot, and a lot. Like, so I would say it's a lot. And even just having, even politicians, different people, honestly, they see you. They're people that appreciate you for what you do. They're people that try to guide you, try to understand what you do. I don't take any of them for granted, but I believe urbanism is a God thing.
Yeah.
I believe because God put it in our hearts to make progress. That's the origin of urbanism. So the greatest and most important inspiration for me is God,
Yeah.
because I believe what God allows us to do is build heaven on earth. So unless He allows you to see heaven through wisdom and obviously maybe the Holy Spirit or whatever you call it, your
Yeah.
instincts, your mind, people call it a lot of things, but I say it's the Holy Spirit. His word allows you have a glimpse
Yeah.
of what you could now do on earth.
Yeah.
So God for me is my greatest inspiration. I know that there are like skyscrapers in heaven, so therefore we can have them on earth. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
I think God will be my greatest inspiration. He's carried me through the challenges. He's the one that does the magic work,
Yeah.
magic part of it. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, if you were going to be speaking to like a younger version of yourself who's watching or listening to this right now, and the person is trying to, getting on this real estate journey, on this urbanism journey, what are some of the major things you would tell them?
Learn and start. Ask questions. Keep going. The least you can do in real estate is be an agent, which is just having knowledge of a property in the market. Your neighbor wants to sell a property, you tell someone else, come and buy this property, and stuff like that. And I'll always say, just start. When we started Bricks and Roses, what happened was we I think it took us maybe 9 months to even ever get a fiscal space. We didn't even think we were going to be able to afford a fiscal space at the time that we did. So what happened was we met once a week and gave ourselves agendas and deadlines and tasks and whatever it was that we wanted to achieve. We could meet at a restaurant. If we didn't have money to go to eat glamorously in a restaurant, we would just put a mat in Wildlife Park on the floor with our
Wow.
books, and we're going to sit down there and have our meetings, have our discussions and whatever it is. And we have weekly meetings. There's a culture. You must have your weekly meetings in the office and all of that. So it's what kept us going, and that was how we started doing this, collaborating with ourselves as team members to get these tasks and these goals we've set out to be achieved before eventually God made a way. You can now get a physical office. You can now have maybe funds for marketing. We've put up billboards. We've put up like some of these kinds of things. So it's not always. I didn't know that we were going to do those things on the day it started. All I knew was that I passed to Dunwata and I was just like, it was an eyesore. And I was like, what can we do to actually like, do we fly a helicopter with dollars and pour it for them so that they can carry the money and like upgrade their houses, do something like, what can we actually do? So that was the first call I made to a friend that's an architect, the first person on my team, Tessie, my VP Design and Development. And that was how we built the team, my core team with my MD now, our executive secretary, our legal representative. So we've been able to build that with time. We didn't always have it. We didn't always have the knowledge. We didn't always have the resources. We didn't always have the network. We just had the drive and the fire. And we knew that things are possible. All things are possible. And we went for it. And the doors opened up as we went. So unless you start, you're not going to see the next step if you have not taken the first one.
I'm just trying to imagine, as you were speaking, all the meetings, Wildlife Park.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have
Tin
thought
City,
that your
Bacardi.
real estate company started from hopping from one place to the other to
Another.
have weekly meetings
Yes.
before now having your own physical
Physical
space?
space. Yes. It's
It,
growth.
it is growth, because a lot of times, many entrepreneurs, a lot of us young people, we want to start and we want to start with everything perfect. Or I have to have this kind of facility with this kind of this, and until everything is, perfect, we cannot start.
So there's a quote that is probably the biggest quote I abide by. Great things start from little beginnings. Before I went into university, I think there was a graduation, an article made that statement, and my dad repeated it to me. And I've held it because it was such a eureka moment, because you could actually, when you look at things, they actually started from somewhere. And there was hardly something that came as a boom. I don't know how something can even come as a boom, because you have to be made to boom, that kind of a thing. So great things do start from little beginnings. Just make sure intentions are pure. You're really open to learning from different ways, because challenges come in different ways. So if you're not open to diverse sectors, be flexible, have some knowledge on almost everything, so that if someone asks a question, you can contribute meaningfully in a conversation. And when you talk, maybe that's where that person is going to gain respect and become your client, and that's where a relationship starts. So don't take any part of your budding process for granted. Be excited for the future of it, because honestly, there's hardly things that are not just made beautiful when they're done right. So be excited for the future. That excitement alone can fuel you on the days that you'll be most broken. Just knowing that, you know what, it's definitely gonna work out. It's definitely gonna be better. This is however it is, whatever vortex this is. Sometimes I tell my friends there really are things you can skip. You cut my hand. I know that the world says I'm supposed to cry. I'm definitely gonna bleed. You can do that, and I'm gonna be smiling and just okay, fine, skip,
Yeah.
and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't actually. Do you understand? There's so many societal norms that you have to shred off. You have to come off of it, come off of. Even in an environment like here, so many people are like, why are you working so hard? Just get married and like settle down and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't even want to know where your thinking is coming from or where the flow started from and stuff like that. So I feel like there's a lot of those things that when you know yourself and you know the value that you are, then you know some things don't apply to you.
Yeah.
So you just go for, like, it's like, okay, this meeting didn't work with that person. That's fine. That's that person. I don't know why it didn't work for them, but I'm going with confidence. And just that confidence has secured me so many meetings, has put my name in so many rooms. You don't want to imagine, like, even outside of Jaws, there are a lot of my friends that just think I'm billionaires, because there are times you can find me sitting down with 4 billionaires in a room. Do you understand? So it's just like, yeah, naturally they would assume you are, and you actually are, because wealth
You're
is
rolling with them.
wealth is like relationships and
Yes.
stuff like that. Do you understand? When you have people rely on you, trust you to such a point, you have to give them value for that trust and all of that.
Great things start from little beginnings.
Yes.
That is something that I'm taking away from this. And while you were speaking and you said that, I just remembered that there's this other quote, two other quotes. One that says, little drops of water make a mighty ocean, and every forest was started from a seed. Yes. Right? So it doesn't matter where you are, what you have. Heck, if you're waiting for everything to be completely perfect, then you'll never start. Right? Just like you mentioned about, how Bricks and Roses started from various places while you were still taking up jobs.
We incorporated it maybe in the 7th month. We started in January, we incorporated in October. Wow. I probably just see, I was the kind of person that I just knew how to get it done. But you see, like some of the intricacies of it, I had to learn. I had to learn the accounting. I had to learn the taxes, because FIRS, I always tell my people, like, I hope there's not something we haven't touched that we're innocently doing, and you come and you're held accountable for that kind of a thing. So you have to learn the details, the business side of it, the compliance side of stuff, all of those kinds of stuff, and then bring it forth.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so honored. I'm the one with thanks here, honestly.
I've learned so much from you today. And just the last thing that you mentioned, you have to learn. Everybody who's running business, like I always say, if you went to school for 4, 5, 6, 7 years to learn to be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it is that you went to school to study, you also have to learn to be a business person, to run a business.
Because,
you have
for example,
to learn.
My degrees, I have a double major degree in petroleum chemistry and computer science.
Not even anything real estate.
Even my mom has told me, where's the trash can you dropped your degrees in? But I see how, for me, maybe I'm more logical. I could be more critical. I could be more analytical because of the skills that these degrees did give me.
Yeah.
So I cannot be doing what I'm doing today. Maybe that's why I'm able to think on the spot better than maybe someone else. Yeah. I don't know, that kind of a thing. So it is those things. It all comes together. Yes. It will always all come together. Just make sure you're open to learning. Because maybe I wouldn't have learned so much in real estate if I was like, this is not my field. I need to be in NMPC. I need to be in Chevron. I need to be in some high-tech company and stuff like that. These opportunities will always tie themselves together. Real estate there's so many ways tech penetrates in every industry. There's so many ways, even chemicals. Like now, I can tell you the composition of some of the materials we're using because of my knowledge in chemistry and some of those kinds of stuff. So it makes you have better understanding of what you're doing in general. So nothing is irrelevant.
Nothing.
Whether it's business, whether it's even the interactions you have, the negotiations, there's learning at every point. So make sure you are doing it. Yes. You're not doing it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. So you heard her. Make sure you're doing it. And wherever you are, just start. We're rooting for you. We believe that you can. We know that everything that you need to be the next big sensation, to have the next successful conglomerate, successful company, you already have with you. With that smartphone, with that room. I mean, wherever you are is good enough to start.
It's that life, honestly.
Yes.
You're breathing. Just do something with your breath.
Yes, exactly. As long as you're breathing, as long as you slept and you woke up today, right, it means that you have what you need to start. And we can't wait to celebrate you. And we're rooting for you. Till the next time we see, that's goodbye from me and take care.